and welcome back to my channel. So I thought I'd show you how to make my turtle melonpan buns from my book, because I've seen so many of you guys making them and asking me questions about them, so why not put it all into a video. So these buns not only look really cute, but they're really light and fluffy inside with a crunchy, sugary shell. And you can keep these plain, or you can fill them with some chocolate or some red bean paste or like a really thick custard. And they're called melonpan because of the crisscross pattern on the shell, which kind of looks like a melon, but they don't actually contain any melon, unless you wanted to put it in there. So I'm going to walk you through all the steps so that you guys can make these turtle melonpan buns at home, and there's no fancy ingredients or equipment to mess you up. In front of me here are all the ingredients you're going to need for the actual dough. So some strong flour, or you can use all-purpose flour, some salt, an egg, fast action instant yeast, sugar, milk, melted butter, and some water in there. And then this is what you're going to need for the turtle's crunchy cookie shell. So some plain or all-purpose flour, some more caster sugar, some salted butter at room temperature, an egg, bicarbonate of soda, and some matcha powder if you have it, or you can just use some green food dye, and then an edible ink pen, which is really useful because you can use that to draw the turtle's faces on. But if you don't have this, you can use like some black food dye and mix out a bit of water or some bit of alcohol, and then use that just to paint the faces on instead. So you can just do all this in the stand-aid mixer, but I'm going to show you how to do it by hand. So you're just going to start by adding all your dry ingredients to a bowl. So I'm going to add my flour, my salt, and my sugar, and the yeast, which I'm going to put on the other side of the bowl to the salt, because that can like kill the yeast. So just give that like a 2-second stir. That's it. And then I'm going to add my liquid ingredients, and these are all tepid, so they're slightly warm to the touch, which is just going to give like a little boost to the rise. But actually, if they're all cold, it'll still rise. It's just going to take longer. So chuck in your milk, chuck in your butter, and then chuck in that water. Give that all a little stir just to coat. And then I'm just going to crack my egg into a bowl, give it a little whisk, and just add in like 2/3 of that egg, and then get your arm muscles in and give it like a really good mix. And now it's this kind of like shaggy mess. I'm just going to coat my hand in a little bit of flour, and then get in there with my hands, and then tip it all onto your work surface. Get it all out of the bowl, and now you're just working this dough with your hands and making it all nice and smooth. So just keep going at it. You can use like the heel of your palm and push it out, and then roll it back in, and then turn it, and then do that again. Yeah, give this all a really good knead until it's nice and smooth and kind of stretchy. So that feels ready, so it's nice and smooth, and it's really elastic, and it feels like a totally different kind of dough than it was before. And the way you can tell is you can hold it up to a window, and you can get it really nice and thin without it completely tearing, and you can see all of the light coming through there. So now I'm just going to pop it into this oiled bowl, and then just cover it, and I'm using this because it's reusable, but you can use some like cling film, and then just wait for it to rise until it's like double the size. So the warmer your kitchen environment, the faster it's going to rise. But if it's really cold, then you can put it in the oven and put it on like a really low heat, and then that will speed up the rising time, kind of like a proving draw. Whilst your dough is rising, you can prepare the cookie dough shells, which is what turns your dough into like a melon pan and makes it look like a turtle. So just add your butter to a bowl, add your sugar, get your whisk, and cream it all together. Great, okay, so now it's all creamed together. You can see that it's nice and paler in colour. You don't need to get it super fluffy though, because we're not making cake, it's just like cookie dough. Crack in your egg, whisk it in, Okay, add in your bicarbonate of soda, chuck in your flour, and add in your matcha powder, or you can use like green food dye or like a mixture of both. Mix it all in. It's pretty much come together now, so I am just going to take it all out of the bowl and then bring it together into a nice ball. Perfect, done. It doesn't need kneading or anything because it's just biscuit dough, so just bring it together into a nice ball, which is going to take seconds. So I'm just going to wrap this all in some cling film, so bundle that up. Now I'm just going to put this in the fridge to chill until I need it later. Okay, so now you can see the dough is like doubled in size, and when I press the top just like this, it sort of springs back a little bit, so you know it is ready, and it's nice and risen and fluffy and big. So you're just going to tip all of the dough out of the bowl and squash it down and get rid of all that air and make it into a nice compact ball of dough again. So now you've got your ball of dough, you're just going to divide up some of it to make the bodies of the turtles, but we're going to leave like a little bit of dough left over for the heads and the feet and all of that. So I'm just going to do 8 bodies, and they're each going to be like 40 to 45 grams big. Oh, that was 46 on the dot. I mean, you can make yours like different sizes, it's just that the baking time is going to vary, so the smaller ones are going to bake faster, so just get them out of the oven before the bigger ones. But then you can have like a family of turtles that are all different sizes. Great, so now I've divided all of those up and I've got a little bit of dough left for the heads and all of that. So cover all this now with like a damp tea towel, and that's just to stop the dough surface from drying out. And then you can get shaping. So I just kind of like press it out with my fingertips, and then I kind of squeeze it all together, trying to make the surface nice and taut and tight. You can also sort of roll it between your palms like this. And there you have a nice smooth turtle body. And just pop it on your baking tray and then repeat. Also, if you wanted to, you could fill the body with something like chocolate. So just press your dough until it's kind of flat, and then put the chocolate in the middle, and then lift up to the sides and just bring them all together like a pleat, just to encase all of that chocolate filling. Turn it over and then just do the same again with rotating the palms of your hands, just to shape that into a nice smooth round. There. So now you've got all the bodies on the baking tray, and I've spaced them out to account for the heads and the fact that they're going to rise as well. Next, you're going to make the heads. So I use about like 10 grams for each head, but again, you don't need to weigh it. Just use your eye and make sure it's a good size smaller than the turtle body. Otherwise you'll have like giant heads and tiny bodies. So just shape your heads in exactly the same way, and then position it at the front of the turtle body, just pressing a little bit to make sure it sticks. So just do that with all of the heads so that they all have a head. And you can just like wet a little bit of water on the front of the turtle just to make sure that the head sticks on. Okay, so that's all the heads attached, and now to add some feet and arms. Or is it arms and arms? Or legs and legs? So it's just the same again really, except you're making teeny tiny balls for the feet, legs, and then you're getting a bit of water and then just popping that on the sides where your legs are going to go, and then just sticking it on. So go forth and give them all legs. So when your bread dough is like mostly risen but not quite there, it still needs like another 10 minutes to go, then you can get your cookie dough out of the fridge. So just scatter some flour onto your work surface, put your dough down, a little bit of flour on top of that. Okay, so now just roll it out. It's nice and cold from the fridge, so it's pretty easy to roll out. Just keep like picking it up and rotating it just to make sure that it's not sticking. So I rolled out mine relatively thin. It's like the width of a £1 coin. I'm not sure what the US currency equivalent of that is. A thickish coin. So now you're just going to stamp out the shells. So one for each turtle. You roll the dough. And then you may have leftover dough, which you can eat, or you can make separately and make like cookies. And they make really cool like lily pads as well, so you can do like little lily pad biscuits. So now these are all risen, and you can tell because you can touch the top and it springs back a little bit when you touch it. So you're just going to brush the tops now with some egg wash, so just some beaten egg, or you can use like milk mixed with like a little bit of sugar. And then you can add your sugar shell on top. And just remember that the actual dough is going to oven spring, so the shell might look a little bit too big at the moment, but then when it goes in the oven, it will all even out. So just keep going and do the same with all of them. And then you're just going to use like a sharp knife just to give like a crisscross effect on top. Just a little bit, you're dragging it through, but you're not piercing through it all the way. And then going in the other direction. And now it's looking pretty turtle-like. So just go ahead and do this with all of the turtles and transform them into turtle Melonpan buns. So now these are all scored, and all that's left is to put them in the oven. So the oven is preheated to 170 degrees Celsius, and these guys are going to go in there for about 20 minutes. But sometimes their shells start browning a bit sooner, so if that happens you can always like put a bit of foil on top to stop it browning too much before it bakes fully inside. See you back with some baked turtles. Here they are! They look so cool. I'm so happy with them. They just need some faces and then they are complete. So all you're going to do now is pop them all on a cooling rack into this baking tray. So the easiest way to add their faces really is using an edible ink pen, but you can paint them on with some black food dye that's watered down with a bit of water, or some alcohol, even better, just because the alcohol dries faster. Just add some eyes. Just draw them straight on. And then a little smiley. Done! Here's my turtle family, and I'm very proud of creating them, and I hope you enjoy creating yours too. So thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe and check out my other videos. Now I'm going to tear into one of these guys, and it's so fluffy. So good. You gotta make it.